BLU has been a minor player delivering affordable smartphones to consumers, but they've never been in contention for being a flagship killer. Well, that may change starting with the introduction of the BLU VIVO XI+, which features that all-screen minimal bezel look, dual cameras, wireless charging, and much more. So BLU has already shown us that they're capable of delivering premium-looking smartphones at lower prices, so there's not much shock at what we find here with the VIVO XI+. It's flaunting a glass meets metal design with curved edges, and it looks stunning. It kind of reminds us of the OnePlus 6 because of the polished front and back surfaces and those curved edges. Usually phones in this price range tend to be poorly constructed, but that's far from the truth here because it has a premium design and solid construction. What's really impressive is how much they're able to cram into this. For starters, there's a fingerprint sensor in the back, you have dual cameras, built-in Qi wireless charging, and there are even sensors near the earpiece that delivers this spatial unlock feature. The only thing missing here that would make the design perfect is a headphone jack, but at least it comes with an adapter. As we mentioned already, it has that all-screen look. It features a 6.2-inch HD+ 1080x2246 display, and that's protected by Gorilla Glass 3. It has an interesting aspect ratio of 19:9, so it's a little bit wider, but the other thing to point out here is the notch. It's pretty wide, similar to the iPhone X. Yes, it is distracting, but at least it can be masked through the display settings. Unfortunately, we can tell it's a low quality display. The only bright spot here is that it reaches a peak brightness output of 525 nits, so pretty bright, but the other characteristics are kinda unfavorable. For example, it has a very cold color temperature of over 9,000 Kelvin, and it produces saturated colors, so it's not really realistic or true to life. The thing about BLU is that they built this reputation for themselves for not updating the software on their smartphones. So basically when you buy one, that's pretty much the software you're gonna get. Thankfully, it looks like BLU has a change in heart because from what we're told, they're gonna be committed in delivering updates to this phone. Right now it's running Android 8.1 Oreo. It's pretty basic and straightforward with its approach, but we're told that it's gonna get updated to Android 9.0 Pie when it arrives, so that's great news. The BLU VIVO XI+, powered by an octa-core MediaTek Helio P60 processor, and it's coupled with 6GB of RAM. It handles basic stuff fine, but we noticed that it's not as snappy as other phones. And if you plan on gaming, you could pretty much forget about it because it does produce a lot of choppy frame rates, so that in itself is an issue. We're happy to find that it's packed with 128GB of internal storage, which is more than generous, and on top of that there's expansion via the microSD card slot. They've dabbled in dual cameras before, so it's no surprise we see the same configuration here with the BLU VIVO XI+. But it breaks down to a 16-megapixel camera and a 5-megapixel combination, and of course this type of implementation allows for things like object focus to get those really slick looking portrait shots so the background's blurred out. Meanwhile, there's a 16-megapixel front-facing camera, and as far as the camera shooting experience is concerned, it does feature an assortment of modes, so at least there's good diversity in the package. Unfortunately though, the camera's performance is predictably disappointing. The biggest thing about it is quite simply the lack of fine detail. It's just devoid of any of that, which means that resizing is out of the question. Under low light, the camera continues to exhibit weak details in the shots, which tends to give it a soft and hazy appearance. Making matters worse, images come out extremely dark, while colors appear dull and washed out. The camera's video performance doesn't get any better either, seeing that it suffers from the same issues. It tops out at 1080p, which by itself is a disappointment considering there's no Quad HD option, but videos again lack any distinguishable fine details, and there's far too much noise in the shot when you're shooting under low light situations. And when you combine the choppy frame rate, it pretty much makes the footage almost unusable. Surprisingly though, the 3000 mAh battery delivers great longevity, something we weren't expecting to find. In our real-world experience, it managed to get easily 1 day of battery life, and our battery benchmark test, it achieved a mark of 8 hours and 14 minutes, which is better than average. It also has a pretty fast recharge time of 122 minutes, so not that long at all, and on top of that, it does feature Qi wireless charging, which is a nice addition because it's the first time we're seeing it in a BLU smartphone. Call quality is neither great or terrible, so at least it gets the job done. Voices through the earpiece do sound a little bit distorted, but the volume output is still loud enough to use in noisy conditions. And on the other end of the line, our callers mentioned that we sound just a little distant, which leads us to believe that the microphones on the phone may be struggling to pick up our voice. The BLU VIVO XI Plus is a promising new smartphone, mainly for the fact that the company is finally committed to delivering timely software updates. Beyond that, it embodies all the practices that we've seen BLU put to strategy before with its previous smartphones. On one hand, it certainly has a compelling package filled with flagship caliber features, but its performance is still what's holding it back from truly being a flagship contender. Without a doubt, the $350 price of the phone certainly undercuts many of the major players out there, including the OnePlus 6, but its performance in many key areas will probably keep most people from deciding to buy it. Two of the big ones include its choppy graphics processing performance, as well as the subpar results from its cameras. When we look at the overall picture, the BLU VIVO XI Plus paints a picture of being a disruptive smartphone, but underneath the sharp looks and ample features, it's still a phone that's indicative of its low-cost price. But hey, at least there's an introductory discount for the phone, which drops its price by $100 to $250, but that's only for a limited time. And that is it for a review of the BLU VIVO XI Plus. If you guys want to learn more about it, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V, signing off.